Welcome to the What's New in Onyx 10.1 presentation. Today we'll be covering a few topics about 10.1, including a summary of new features, some licensing updates, white ink improvements, support for G7, CMYK-R, and JDF, compatibility mold, multi-page PDF support, some media bowing compensation for cutting, color device updates, color library updates, and a few other fixes that have been done. Summary of improvements that we've done. We've been working with the IDEA Alliance to establish the Onyx RIP software as a G7 support tool. We've done some improvements with white ink profiling to make it a simpler process. We've added support for the CMYK-R ink configurations for the HP DesignJet Z6200. We've added a new RIP compatibility mode to provide a workaround to files with transparency problems. And a list of additional bug fixes and minor improvements have also been included. And we've added the introduction of a PDF workflow using JDF technology. Version 10.1 is a paid upgrade and requires a key update. Current Onyx Advantage and Premium holders are entitled to the 10.1 update through their agreement, as well as anybody who has purchased a new product of X10 after December 1st. If you fit into this category and would like an update, send an email to sales@onyxgfx.com including your key number, and they'll get you taken care of. 10.1 will be available near the end of June 2011. Both online and new customer shipments will be done at the same time. You can also upgrade to 10.1 to the a la carte option, just doing an upgrade. We've made some improvements to the white ink profiling process. We've added a new white ink verification swatch to help determine your ink restriction values and how it will behave with your other color channels. We've also added the ability to set your spot channel to flood so that you can print your swatches and do your measurements properly. This means that there is no more need to use pre-flight as your tool to add that flood fill. So you can see here, this is the ink restriction print dialog, and you can see the flood option for the white channel right here in the dialog. So you just turn that on and we'll take care of the rest for you. We've also made a couple of changes here. Bleed control has been pulled out to make it a little more intuitive, as well as the variable dot setup, so they're no longer under the advanced button. They have their own options here. As mentioned, all of your swatches will now have the option to print your spot colors as a spot or a flood fill for your white ink workflow in all of your dialogs. Onyx and G7. We have built a new G7 support tool. As part of your linearization step, you will now have the option of creating a new media model and selecting the G7 targets. You can import and export your readings to and from Curve 2, available from Chromix and then back into Onyx. And there's a new ICC preset recommending G7 profiling. Under the advanced option, after reading your calibration swatch, you'll see there's the Curve 2 option. It does require a spectrophotometer. You'll print the swatch, read it in, export those readings for the Curve 2 software, make your changes there, and then you'll import the G7 curves back into Onyx. There is a new swatch for Curve 2. This is the IDEA Alliance P2B target for spectral and colorimetric color devices. The P2P format is based on color device selection. Once you print and read your swatch, you'll export those readings like I mentioned, bring them into the Curve 2 software. You can make your adjustments and look through the dialogues here that you need to, and then you'll export those readings from Curve 2 and import them back into Media Manager. We've added native support for CMYK-R for the HP DesignJet Z6200. There's a new ink configuration and new processing option, and there's a new ICC to help utilize that red channel. You'll notice on the calibration swatch as well, it is going to print the red channel as well as your light inks. And we have a CMYK-R ICC swatch for this printer. It is not required, but it is highly recommended to help utilize that red channel in the most effective way. Onyx now supports a JDF option. This is a paid license feature, so you will need to contact sales to have it added to your key. JDF is simply a workflow management process. We accept the JDF files through hot folders, and we update the JDF files in the accessible folder in order to provide status updates to other components. Use of the JDF metadata is used in the queue with the available customer information, job ID, and interpreting options, and the customer name and job ID can be added to the print label. The JDF options will be found under the Configure Printer dialog. There's no quick set settings for this. Onyx can auto-assign media and modes based on information within your JDF assignments. Alias names or nicknames can be assigned to an Onyx media profile, making it easier for you to set up your JDF data. And draft, normal, and high will determine what mode is being used. There's a new RIP mode called Compat mode. This is added to provide a potential workaround to some of our transparency and overprint issues that some customers see. Basically, this option forces blends and other effects into a CMYK color space, which allows us to do the rendering of the elements first and then apply the color management settings. It can increase RIP times as it is rendering the image pixel by pixel. This workflow does still support spot colors. If you're working with multi-page PDFs, we've added a new option in the quick sets on the PostScript tab. Submit pages as individual jobs. If you're opening through Preflight, it will only support up to 12 pages to break out, and that's just because of the bandwidth that it takes in order to do this process. However, if you open a job directly into RipQ, it can separate out more pages. Each page will retain its own page size based on its original artboard size, and it does not work if you open files directly into Preflight. You need to open them through RipQ in order for this to work. Media bowing compensation. Some printers, with the heat that they put on the media, we've noticed that there can be bowing issues in the prints. We've added options into our cut server application to be able to compensate for that bowing so that your cutting is still accurate. The option is located under the Preferences and Appearance settings. The bowing options that you'll have the media width, allows you to adjust the width of the media that we use to print. The bowing start. In some cases, the bowing effect does not happen right away. This allows you to compensate for that and start the bowing where it actually starts on your print. And then the bowing amount to help you specify how much bowing is affected on your prints. There's been a few color device updates. We've added low-res support for X-Rite i1 devices for low-resolution printers and coarse media. We've added the 8mm aperture support for the Barbieri color devices for use with low-resolution devices and coarse medias. Support for the Barbieri Spectral LFP. We've also added a patch divider threshold for i1 devices to prevent patch reading errors during ink restriction step. You can move this up or down to help determine where the separator changes from black to white in your ink restriction. We've added a couple of additional color libraries, RAL, Effect, Classic, and Design libraries to the 10.1 color matching system. Some small change to the PPD structure. The Mac and PC PPDs that have been created have actually been the same files for quite some time now. As a result of this, we are eliminating the Mac folder. All PPDs will be in the PC folder and can be used on a Mac. Some other updates that have been done, we've updated the printer gutters. All ink channels in your profile will be printed if you turn on the gutters. This includes light inks, and Poster Shop will now include your white ink tools. Your specialty ink tool set in Preflight, lower cost white printers will be supported by Poster Shop, and we'll have all the functionality of Productionhouse on that aspect. We've also integrated the RIP patch that was put out in January as part of the RIP in 10.1. A few print and cut changes. Overall cut accuracy improvements have been made. We've corrected software settings where it was overriding the cutter settings. We've fixed some solid cut paths being broken into segments in Cut Server. Mark detection issues on certain cutters have been fixed. There was a patch put out to help with the detection of cutters connected via USB, and that's now included in the CutServer application. We fixed an issue where your cut marks may have been missing over a print of multiple copies. And we've updated the zoomed cutters in RibQ. Renamed to Zoom Touch and Cut. We've changed the number of characters in the barcode. Added automated barcode placement for top and bottom. And we've updated the automatic cut mark placement on large jobs. Some additional bug fixes that have been done. Like mentioned, we included the X10 rip patch. Enlarging some PDF files have a line through the raster elements. That's been fixed. The DTP 41 and 41T had some incorrect readings for ink restrictions, and we've corrected that, as well as the other items listed here. For more information about bug fixes, you can contact the support team, and we'll be happy to walk you through those fixes. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact us. You can contact support or sales about questions about the 10.1 release. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful year.